Ranking the top defenders for AFL Fantasy 2025. Let's get into it. At number 6, I have Nasiah Wanganeen Malera. The Wang has been projected for a huge breakout for a bit now, and I reckon this could be the year that he gains uber premium status. We've seen the Saints trying to bolster their midfield, with Sinclair spending more time there and McRae as a new recruit. To me, this means that Nasiah will be the halfback that the Saints rely on. He will be the one involved in all of the chip marking and absolutely rack up points. Maybe. As the key distributor, I would say he would be capable of averaging over 105 and maybe even 110. I have him at 6 mainly because I do think there is still a significant chance that nothing changes and his average stays under triple digits. But now for number 5, and I've got Lachie Whitfield here. Lachie had an outstanding season in 2024, averaging a career-high 109 with some huge ceiling scores. However, I would be shocked to see him keep this up again in 2025. He showed that he is very taggable with a floor of 48, and I also think that the season was too much of an anomaly to be replicated again. He averaged under 96 in the previous 4 seasons, with the only change being more kick-ins. I'm not saying I don't think he can't score well, but to average 15 points more than usual for 2 seasons is something I believe to be highly unlikely. I certainly wouldn't start with him. In 4th place is Nick Newman. He too had a career-high year after consistent improvement in the 2 years prior. I think more trust was being put into him in the last few games of the home and away season, with an average of 133 in his last 4 games. Now, of course, I don't think he's going to average anything like this, but I'm just pointing out that his potential is far greater than his long-term scoring has shown. If you look at this table here, you can see that he wasn't being given many kick-ins at the beginning of the season, but as it went on, he became the main man to take them. I wouldn't put it past Newman to average 105 plus. Now for the top 3, but first please make sure to subscribe. I've got heaps of quality AFL Fantasy and Supercoach content in the works, and already out which I'm sure you don't want to miss. Only 6% of you are subscribed, and I reckon you can help me do better than that. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers before the AFL season starts. And thank you to all of my old and new subscribers out there. Appreciate you. I reckon the 3rd best defender will be Nick Martin. This is a bit of a tricky one because there is talk of him playing just as a winger, which would significantly lower his 2024 average of 107. This role change is possible, but if it doesn't occur, then it is highly likely that Martin will feature somewhere in these top 6 defenders. In the previous season, he was great for fantasy, but as a part of the AFL, he faced a fair bit of criticism for his poor disposal efficiency. He got plenty of the ball, but he didn't use it well, which I believe is one of the reasons why his kickouts almost completely dried up, as you can see here. Hopefully, he's putting in heaps of work this preseason, and if he can improve on that, I believe his fantasy scores could also improve or at worst be maintained. Coming in at 2, I've chosen Sam Flanders. He was listed as a mid-forward last season, so this is his first time in the defender line. Like Martin, he had a huge breakout season in 2024, averaging just under 108. This puts him 4th among the defenders for season average, although someone above him isn't even featuring on this list. Can you guess who? Anyway, Flanders is valued very highly by coach Damien Hardwick, and he saw a shift in his role towards the end of the season as he started having more midfield time. This isn't necessarily a good thing, but with Rioli landing at the club in a likely halfback role, his scoring would have been more greatly impacted if without the position change. Plus, if you look at round 19, he has over 80% of the centre bounces and scored 137, so he handled that role just fine. Flanders has shown us that he is a brilliant accumulator of the ball, producing some huge ceiling scores, and I think he has the capability to improve even further, perhaps averaging over 110. The only flag I have is that Damien Hardwick isn't known for having players produce huge fantasy scores. Even in Richmond's premiership years, I can't recall any uber premiums coming out of the club. Well anyway, now it's time for first place. As the highest averaging defender in 2025, I have Harry Sheezel, who also had the highest average in 2024. Everyone watching knows that he is a genuine young gun of the competition, and while he has already made a huge impact at the club and in the competition, I think his 2025 season could be on a whole new level. It's hard to say someone is going to have a breakout year when they just averaged 112, but I think he might. Maybe not so much in terms of fantasy, but I think that his impact on games is going to be huge. Like Flanders, he has been eased into a midfield role, and now that it's his third year in the comp, I believe he will be ready and fully capable. He thrived at halfback in a struggling team, but now North are on the rise, hopefully, and maybe now he can thrive in the midfield mix. The reality is, even if he just maintains his average, Sheezel will probably still be the #1 defender. Well, please subscribe to help me out and see heaps more content just like this.